There is an unexplainable power in the darkness of the forest. From ancient times till today, there are warnings, signs, and portents that teach us to avoid certain areas of the thick woods. Monsters lurk there. Creatures that cannot be explained by the powers of reason or science. Hello, I am author and paranormal investigator Donald Allen Kirch, and this is Stranger Than Fiction.
Forget the world you know. Enter a bizarre dimension where the strange and unusual guide your imagination towards the unimaginable. Life is stranger than fiction in these true stories, where the ordinary is replaced with the extraordinary. Explore strange legends, weird myths, and odd folklore. The facts are laid before you to examine. You're invited to draw your own conclusions on these true stories of the paranormal.
The East Coast of the United States is filled with fantastic stories of the paranormal. From a Revolutionary War hero that haunts the old buildings of government in North Carolina, to Abraham Lincoln's ghost spooking a royal visitor one night in the White House. There are legends of George Washington being visited by an angel or the Virgin Mary on the fields of Valley Forge. To the telltale prowling of the Capitol building's Black Cat, summoning up the death of another president. America has her fair share of both the bizarre and the supernatural. None of these stories, legends, or hauntings can compare to the dark and foreboding mysteries of the New Jersey Pine Barrens. It is within these confines that we discover quite possibly America's first folktale. Deep within the Pine Barrens, according to some, there lives a creature described by witnesses as being both reptilian and mammal. It stands tall, has the head of a horse, and wings which propel it to wherever it wishes to go. In its wake, there is great sadness and disaster. It is known by the natives of New Jersey as the Jersey Devil. The legend has its origins back in the early 1700s when America was still mainly a British colony. This was when a young woman by the name of Deborah Smith immigrated to the newly established colony of New Jersey. Coming from London, Deborah learned quickly that the New World held unknown dangers and freshly established ways of life not openly available to those of the old. In the course of time, Deborah fell in love and married a man by the name of Leeds. Mr. Leeds was both a drunkard and a lousy provider for both his wife and family. The Leeds had to eke out a living in the Pine Barrens, which are perhaps the harshest lands in the entire state of New Jersey. Land that was quite rugged and held vast forests, sandy soil, and swamplands. In 1735, Mrs. Leeds, or Mother Leeds as she had been called, discovered under unfortunate happenstance that she was pregnant with her 13th child. Food and shelter were stretched thin as it was, and to bring one more life into the world with a husband who was unreliable was almost too much for the woman. It was then that Mother Leeds was said to have either made a deal with the devil or cursed her unborn child to its terrible and unimaginable fate. On more than one occasion, Mother Leeds was heard saying,
"The devil can take this one. I have no need for it."
She was also heard stating,
I hope this one's a devil.
This was harsh talk in a community which could still recall the chaos of the Salem witch trials. Superstition ruled more American colonists than did any British king. When the baby was finally born, he was purported to have been quite beautiful. Healthy and happy, he was washed and placed upon Mother Lee's stomach. All was forgotten in the magical moment of a child's birth. All forgot but the devil. The child, once it got acquainted with its mother, started to grow at a fantastic rate, almost 20 feet in height. It was reported by those who witnessed the event that the child became quite reptilian in nature, grew a horse's head, wings, and a forked tail. Fighting his way through those brave enough to try to contain him, the monster flew up and out of the Leeds house via their chimney. The creature never again returned home. Another variation of the story of the Jersey Devil's creator is that it was the direct result of a curse from a gypsy. This variation states that Mrs. Leeds had denied food to a starving gypsy who had then placed a curse on the pregnant woman. Still another variation says that Mrs. Leeds could have been involved in witchcraft. There are even reports of a witch trial being held at that time around Mount Holly, New Jersey. It is also believed that the Jersey Devil's mother could have been cursed by locals because she fell in love with a British soldier, and because of the time period before the Revolutionary War, she was shunned. As the beast became known to those in the Pine Barrens, even grown men would refuse to go out at night. It was reported that the devil would carry off small children lost in the woods. Cattle, dogs, and sheep were also favored items. Those investigating would later find the remains of missing animals, but children would never show any signs of being killed or taken. They just vanished. The Jersey Devil was also blamed for breathing upon milk cows, making them dry up, and for killing off all the fish in the streams, hurting the local businesses. The Jersey Devil had many shapes and many stories. There were also several variations on the events of the Jersey Devil's birth. Some say that the creature was born as a devil and never resembled a human being. Other variations also say that before the Jersey Devil flew off into the Pine Barrens, it killed and ate all the people present in the cabin. It was also said that the Jersey Devil would return to its home for years and sit perched on a fence. After a while, Mrs. Leeds, not knowing what to do with her deformed child, shooed it away, and it never came back. The other variations of the legend involve the date and location of the birth. Instead of 1735, it had been dated as 1778, 1850, 1855, 1857, 1859, 1873, and 1880. The birthplace also differs. Besides the commonly accepted Leeds Point, it has been placed in Estoville, Pleasantville, and Burlington. Leeds Point has remained the most popular birthplace due to the fact that it has a physical supposed birth house out in the middle of the woods. It is believed that the Jersey Devil may have had a name. Smith J. Leeds is the supposed name of the baby that became the beast. In Leeds Point, there is a gravesite with the name of Smith J. Leeds, belonging to someone who had died within 2 years of birth. The rumor of the name has never been proven. Regardless of which legend is believed, all versions have a common result. a winged creature set free to roam the Pine Barrens for the rest of its lifetime. Immediately, the creature decided to do what every baby does, regardless of its species. It decided to explore its surroundings and make itself known. Sticking with the original timeline, in 1740, the people had enough. Begging a local minister, they persuaded the man of God to exorcise the monster out of the barrens.
By the powers of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, I cast thee, spawn of Satan, into the abyss of hell.
Upon doing so, the priest did warn by the very nature of his actions that the exorcism was not permanent. The devil would return in about 100 years.
Holy Mother of God! What was that?
If one were to believe the records of the time, the exorcism failed. The devil was spotted at least 2 more times before the end of the century's moratorium. Visiting the Hanover Inn Works in 1800, naval hero Commodore Stephen Decanter encountered a bizarre creature while testing out new cannonballs for the United States Navy. Spotting a winged creature he could not identify, the Commodore took aim, firing upon the thing. Knowing full well that he had hit it, the creature flew onward, deep into the Pine Barrens, looking as if the bullet fired on it had no ill effect. Decanter never forgot the encounter. The former King of Spain and brother of Napoleon, Joseph Bonaparte, lived in Bordertown, New Jersey from 1816 to 1839. While hosting a hunting party, the well-respected man claimed to have seen the Jersey Devil attacking a deer near a stream. The ex-king was not a coward and did not frighten easily, but this encounter shook him up. He talked of the episode till the day of his death. In 1840, as if on cue, the devil returned with full force. As the priest had predicted about a century before, South New Jersey was again hunted and haunted by the devil. He once more began to kill cattle, sheep, and steal away missing children unfortunate enough to wander into the woods. Although actual sightings of the creature were few, the legend itself took on a whole new force, and people began to rush home, locking their doors in fear of things dark and dangerous in the night. In 1899, the Jersey Devil raided Vincenttown and Burrsville, and then decided to expand its horizons and head for New York. The creature made its first out-of-state appearance in Spring Valley, New York, where a resident was repeatedly losing sheep and hearing ungodly screams. At one point, the resident spotted the thief and described it as a flying serpent. This resident's report would be the first Jersey Devil sighting ever to be published in the newspapers. The creature remained in New York for a brief period. Eventually, the Jersey Devil decided to return to its home state, but not without leaving strange tracks in New York's marshes. By the turn of the century, the Jersey Devil's existence became a common belief in New Jersey and its bordering states. The people believed that an eerie, supernatural creature lived in the Pine Barrens. The people also believed that the sightings and tales would soon die out, and that the legend of the Jersey Devil had run its course. Soon, they would realize that they were sadly mistaken. The 1900s started off with a major bang for the New Jersey Devil legend. In 1909, the largest batch of Jersey Devil sightings ever recorded occurred, in which the Jersey Devil was seen by over 100 people in the time span of a single week. This week, January 16th through January 23rd, has been justly named Phenomenal Week. During this time, a wide range of people throughout the Delaware Valley spotted the winged beast. Some sightings were seen by large groups of people at once. Other sightings were made by residents who were awakened in the middle of the night by strange noises in the darkness. As I have stated, 1909 was a cardinal year for the devil. Over 100 people reported either seeing him or spotting his hoofed footprints in the snow. The panic was so strong that even teachers refused to open up their classrooms during certain times of the year in the fear that the devil would be attacking their students in the open fields while they were on their way to school. One has to take into account that these were educated people, not subject to the yellow press, which was rampant at the time. Imagine what would happen to school authorities today if they tried to plead with parents, warning them not to have their children attend school due to the sudden attacks of a monster. One of the most frightening sightings of the devil happened to police officer James Saxville. While on duty, the man stated that he had spotted the creature in an alley where it hopped out upon the city street, screamed out a loud howl, and spread its wings, blocking his way.
You, creature, stay away! Stay away, or I'll shoot you where you stand! Sweet Mother Mary, protect me!
Upon taking out his weapon, the officer fired at it, claiming that he had offered it a mortal wound. The Jersey Devil appeared not to be injured, but only seemed to gain strength from the encounter, disappearing in front of James's eyes. Still, with all this evidence, the devil has been considered just a quaint local legend, something to scare the children with. The huge amount of sightings caused New Jersey to enter state of emergency precautions, with all residents instructed to be in their homes before dark and to secure all animals at night. Newspapers were filled with detailed sighting accounts, although many articles seemed to be mocking in tone. The people of the area were terrified, especially those living deep in the heart of the Pine Barrens. Now, as with all legends, there's always fraud. And during the early 1900s, the legend was scarred by the marks of scam artists attempting to make money off of the people's fear. One man in particular went to the extremes to create a very elaborate hoax. This man obtained a wild kangaroo, painted stripes on its fur, attached wings to the shoulder blades, and kept the creature in a dimly lit cage, charging all curious visitors a fee to take a peek at what he claimed to be the Jersey Devil. When the visitors approached the cage, a man sitting behind the kangaroo, armed with a long stick with a nail on one end, would smack at the creature, causing it to lunge forward and shriek in pain, frightening all who saw it. Eventually, the man came clean on his hoax, and since then, the Jersey Devil has not been taken as seriously as it had been before. Still, with all the hoaxes, the 1909 flap of sightings holds some unusual stories that even the most skeptical might wish to investigate. The witnesses were not local crazies, nor were they people seeking publicity or fame. E.W. Minster, postmaster of Bristol, Pennsylvania, claimed once to be awakened at 2 a.m. hearing an ungodly sound coming from the direction of the Delaware River. Gathering the courage to look out his bedroom window, the man spotted a large, crane-like creature flying toward his house. Shaken by the encounter, the postmaster slammed his curtains shut and retreated to his bed, a frightened man. The creature let out a series of howls, then disappeared into the night. On January 19, 1909, perhaps the most documented encounter occurred. Mr. and Mrs. Nelson Evans were peacefully asleep in their home when the sounds of something landing upon their roof woke the two from their bed. Wishing to investigate, Mr. Evans tried to go outside, but was soon stopped by his cautionary wife. The creature continued to terrorize the two with its loud, thundering movements and howls. Later that night, the creature was spotted in the backyard of Mrs. J.H. White. Mrs. White was taking clothes off her lines when she saw an unidentifiable creature approach her from the woods on her property. The sight of the thing was enough to make her faint, being revived minutes later by a concerned and confused husband. Before Mr. White could take his wife into their house, the Jersey Devil returned, flapping its wings, challenging the man. Mr. White, to his credit, did not falter.
Damn beast! Be gone with you! Get off my property and never return!
Grabbing a broom, the man claimed to have chased the demon from his backyard, watching it jump over his 6-foot fence with one single leap. The police were called, and by the time they arrived at the Whites' property, over 100 people had gathered in curiosity, hoping to discover if the legend were true. They were not disappointed. The devil returned, flapping its wings and howling once again at the good people. The creature seemed to challenge everyone. The police officers, concerned for public safety, shouted at the creature, hoping to frighten it away. The devil would not budge. The officers emptied their guns in a panic. Once the smoke cleared, there was no sign that the Jersey Devil had even been there, except for a trail of bizarre footprints in the snow. At one point, in a frantic chase to find the devil, the charred remains of a strange creature were found somewhere in the Pine Barrens. These remains were unidentifiable by the Department of Wildlife and Conservation. They had no record of any such creature on file. Some believed that these remains were those of the Jersey Devil and thought the legend was finally put to an end. But once again, the Jersey Devil returned. According to sighting reports, the next spotting of the Jersey Devil did not happen until 1927.
Damn it. Flat tire. This is going to cut upon my drive time. Curse it all to hell.
Heading back to Salem, a taxi driver had to change a flat tire on his car. While changing his tire, the man was surprised to hear something heavy land upon the hood of his car, shaking violently. Looking up, the man claimed to stand face to face with the creature. Leaving both his flat and his car jack behind, the taxi driver dove into his car, fleeing the scene, a believer in legends. Berry pickers near Leeds Point in 1930 claimed to see the devil eating berries and thrashing through the thick fields without a care in the world. In November of 1951, a small group of Cub Scouts claimed to have been cornered by the beast at DuPont Clubhouse in Gibbstown. The Jersey Devil did not hurt any of the young boys, but they were all considerably frightened. This would not be the last time the devil would return to Gibbstown. In 1952, the Jersey Devil came back for the Gibbstown-Paulsboro invasion. This invasion, although on a smaller scale than Phenomenal Week, caused quite a stir in the area and sent many people into a panic state. Posses were formed who attempted to track the creature, yet still no dog could follow its trail. Instead, they whimpered and turned away. Because the legend was no longer taken seriously, mass hysteria was blamed for the cause of the uprising. In 1960, the devil horrified a group of honeymooners near Mays Point. The couples were so shaken that even the presence of the police chief couldn't console them. Local papers made a big deal of the encounter, encouraging a famous circus to offer a $100,000 reward for the live capture of the creature.
It is the sole intent of this circus to prove the myth of the Jersey Devil. In that respect, if a lucky person or persons can capture the beast, we will handsomely pay a reward of 100,000 American dollars. That's right, people, a fortune for the proof of the devil.
There were no takers on the challenge, and the offer remains an open one to this very day. A park ranger most recently claimed to have encountered the devil while patrolling his region of the Pine Barrens. The man was driving his truck through dense back fields, running into what he thought to be a cow. However, the creature soon stood up on its hind legs, running back into the mysterious darkness of the woods. Around this same time, newspapers started refusing any sightings accounts, believing that they were just simple attempts at gaining recognition and attention. The Jersey Devil legend was beginning to die. Sightings still continued to trickle in and have remained steady throughout many years. Sightings as recent as this year have been reported. Sightings of the devil still continue. On a lighter note, the Jersey Devil became New Jersey's official demon in the 1930s, recognizing the history of the legend and its importance to New Jersey history. This creature is also the namesake of the state's hockey team, the New Jersey Devils. One could say that these sightings were the results of overactive imaginations, some drinking, and perhaps a childhood need to tell a joke. Still, most witnesses have been respectable people, not seeking publicity, nor are they looking to write a book and make a couple bucks from the encounter. They are police officers, public officials, priests, and teachers, not the type of individuals who would risk their jobs and reputations on a whim. Something is out there resting in the New Jersey Pine Barrens, and it has been known to scare the hell out of people. Pray that you never have to find out what it is. If you would like to see more of my work, go to my website at donaldallenkirch.com. That's Donald Allen, A-L-L-E-N, Kirch, K-I-R-C-H.com. One word, donaldallenkirch.com. My books are available in both ebook and print format and can be found on Amazon and barnesandnoble.com. It would be an honor to entertain you. So, for Stranger Than Fiction, this is Donald Allen Kirch, wishing you unpleasant dreams.